Alright, so we're going to set up to do the cut on this. I'm going to clean up the end. It looks like it's been chewed off by a dog. The other end's been crop cut, so it's got a fair reduction in its thickness as that crop's been done. So we'll clean up this end here. We're going to do clean up cut through here, secondary cut for our length, and then I'm going to use the cut-off saw to do the final cuts to get that to width. So one of the tools I absolutely hate using in my workshop, and it makes me shudder, is a 9-inch grinder. Now these things are banned I think just about every construction site in Australia. Matter of fact, if you're seen using one of these in a construction site, that's instant dismissal. These things are banned on construction sites, or certainly construction sites that I've worked on. You've got to be so careful and set yourself up. If you're going to do this at home with a 9-inch grinder, treat this with absolute trepidation. Just set yourself up properly, get yourself stable. Don't take second chances when you're using these things, because they don't give you a second chance. They will cut into you without a second thought. My brother-in-law was doing a big extension on his house. He'd had a contract builder who had an apprentice with him. He was on a ladder doing a seam cut up through the wall. It was getting close to lunchtime, so the builder's come down off the step ladder, said to his apprentice, "I'll go down and buy lunch for the day." He's headed off. The apprentice thinks he's doing the right thing. He's hopped up the ladder to try and finish the job before his boss comes back. This thing's jammed, it's kicked out. He's ended up cutting through his arm just above his wrist. It's just hanging on by a thread. There's blood everywhere, there's screaming. I don't know what ended up happening with the kid, but I'm sure he would have lost a lot of function in that hand. And that's with one of these things. You have got to be so careful, and I hate using them. But for this particular job, I will use it, I will do the cut. We will take our time, we will take it very, very easy. It's the easiest way that I can see. I could sit there for ages with a 4-inch grinder doing it, but the 8-inch will do it a lot quicker, but we're just going to be very, very careful. So, safety glasses, ear muffs because they're damn noisy. We're going to be using some big heavy gloves. I don't like the smell of the bonding agent that's coming off, so I'll be using a mask, and I'll be using a face shield and a helmet for my safety protection on this. So we'll get set up, we'll get started, and we'll get these 2 cuts done, however long it takes, and then we can set the rest of the stuff up on the cut-off saw to get it sorted out. But for these thicker plates, for me, that's the easiest way to go. Just got to be so aware of what these things can do. All right, we'll get started. We'll get kitted up and we'll get started. Okay, I'm just gonna move this guard around a little bit. I'm just gonna make sure that I'm comfortable with the way I'm setting this stuff up. I'm not going to have any issues. I want to have good sight. I want to see exactly what's happening as I'm going through. So I'm just going to modify that guard, just move that around a little bit. And alright, so I've got the guard repositioned. Whenever you do any reposition on any gear, cutting gear that's powered, always unplug the lead. The last thing you want to do is while you're fiddling around, the thing gets dropped or you get your hand in the wrong spot and you accidentally turn the thing on. Your fingers don't like that. Other important thing too, this bonding agent absolutely stinks when it breaks down on these wheels. So make sure you take the washing off the line, because there's nothing worse than an upset wife who's bringing the washing in and actually smells that pungent smell through the clothes. So do the right thing by your wife too, and get everything off the washing off the line before you start. All right, let's have a go. Alright, so we've done that first cut. If you're feeling a bit fatigued, you're feeling a bit sore while you're doing this, just stop, have a spell for a while. Let the blade do the work, don't try and force it. If it's feeling like it's wanting to go, let it go. If it's not, you'll often see it gets fairly bumpy there. As that bond breaks down, you start opening up the new grinding grit. You'll often find it starts to jump around a little bit until it sort of blazes out a bit and goes again. So just be aware when you're cutting through like that, that it will tend to jump around as that bond does break down and you open up the new cutting faces, new cutting edges in that grit. So I'm going to have to put another blade on this before we do the next cut. So I'm going to duck down to my local Bunnings, so I haven't got a spare blade, so we'll do that now. So yeah, it went quite well. As I said, don't rush it, just take your time, make sure you're stable. If you're feeling a bit fatigued, your arms getting a bit sore, just stop, have a rest, and come back to it a bit later. Alright guys, we'll get this finished out. We'll get this set up on my cut-off saw, which will be a lot safer. And we'll cut it off to the length. So we've cut that to width. I've cut that at 155. Clean up's at 150, so gives us 5mm to clean up with. We're going to cut this to length now. We can hold this in the cut-off saw. It's going to be an awful lot safer. Cut length on this is, or finish length on this is 170, so we'll take it off to 175, 176. Give ourselves something to work with to clean up after we've got it welded into place. So, all right, we'll set up. While we're set up, we'll start this cut. Got the earplugs in this time, it's a little bit easier than the earmuffs. Still don't like the smell of that bonding agent. She's tripped out, so we might set up in the bandsaw rather than the cut-off saw, and we'll see how she goes. Probably pushing a little bit to cut through like that, but yeah, I'll set up in the bandsaw if we can. Alright, so we're on the bandsaw. We've already cut off the side we started to do the grind cut with the cut-off saw, and yeah, that only took a couple of minutes to knock off, and get the bandsaw set to do the other edge. We'll cut that off to about 173, give ourselves a little bit of machining allowance on that. But yeah, the bandsaw's making short work of it. This is the one that I did the refurbishment on a little while ago, where I replaced the motor and realigned everything. So I've got a video up on how I went about that if you want to go and have a look at it. Yes, the old motor actually caught fire, so hence the need for a new one. But yeah, it'll make short work of that. So I'll go ahead and cut up all the other stock that we've got on the bandsaw. Get that all ready and prepped for some pre-machining. Once we've done the pre-machining, we can start the weldments. Start putting it together. Righto, we're starting to cut the 150 to 100 RHS, so that's underway. It's probably close to the maximum capacity that I can get out of my bandsaw, but you know, for such a little unit, it does amazingly well. I've got a lot of the other stock cut up and prepped. I found a bit of 20 by 20 square down in my CNC router shed, so I've used that rather than that bit of flat bar that I had before. So come together and finish off the last of it in the bandsaw, and then we'll set up in the lathe to do the big ring. Get that roughly bored out and parted off to length. Alright guys, just going to machine the two bosses for the taper roller bearings in the housing. So I've just got a bit of 50mm stock. It's a tad over 50. I'm just going to give that a very, very light lick to clean it up to get that scale off. We'll face it. Then I'm going to bore it out well, not bore it out, I'm going to drill it out to a diameter 30. The minimum diameter that I've got in that bore on the recess is 35 millimeters. So I want to bore this out, and I also want to pre-bore the plate. So I've got some holes in the end that I can get some finger clamps down off if I need to when I'm setting up for machining the housing. So we'll get these done now. The drawing states I've put on that 14 millimeters, but it's a non-working dimension. So I'm going to go another couple of mil. We'll make that 16 mil. Give it a little bit more rigidity, a little bit more beef. The wall thickness on this is going to be down to 4 millimeters. Everything's very tight in around the housing plates on this, so not a lot of room to work with. So yeah. All right. Let's get this faced off and lightly machined on the OD, and then we'll drill and part it off. Might just engage the feed for this one. Could put a faster feed on that, waiting a month of Sundays for that. We'll just take a tad more off that. So that we're down to it out first. Yeah, 49.87. We'll just go a tad more on that. That'll do it. Just clean it up with a file. Make sure we've got no scale on there. Right, we'll get in and we'll drill this out. Let's go over the pilot drill, 10 mil first, and then we'll open that out to 30. This is part of a drill set I got off eBay, really cheap. Really poorly hardened and tempered material. They're very brittle, they tend to crack a fair bit. You've got to be very careful with them. And when you do get them, the clearances are all up the creek. They've got positive rakes instead of negative rakes, so you've got to regrind the set when you do get them. But for what I do at home, I haven't got an issue with them. They work well. Alright. got a bit of my grinding technique. It's cutting more on one flute than the other, or on one lip than the other. I'm going to make myself up a scratch pole one day so I can get these flanks exactly right on each one. That's another project. There's lots of them to do. That looks pretty gnarly up inside, but it doesn't matter, it's all going to be bored to suit once we get the housing together. One thing I don't like to use is, if I'm going to be doing welding, I don't like to use coolant. It does get into the grain of that metal, and it does burn out when you are trying to weld it. So I like to try and machine these jobs without coolant. Just keep them dry as you can. I'm going to put a weld prep back onto this because we're going to take a little bit of that fillet away. Going to grind a little bit away because of the closeness of those plates. So I want to get this penetration in as far as we can. So I'll just put a little arris on this for our weld preps. I'll just tweak my tool around a little bit. Let's see how that looks. That'll do for a weld prep. Just give that a little bit. Now we'll set up to part that off. Ready to go, juice. I'll put a little bit more in there. We're just about empty on that. There we go with this tip. I have had this tip in for a long time, and I'll try and pop a centre up in that. That's not too good. See if that makes a difference. Right. Take that away. Cool off. Yes, that RTD cutting oil absolutely stinks. Does a great job, but yeah, I can't inside. My wife makes me go straight to the shower. It has to permeate through the house. Righto. I might leave in that configuration there just to face it off, and then we'll recut another weld prep and go again. oil prep's roughly the same. A bit more to go yet. This is one of my homemade tool holders, and yeah, they work really well. They really do. We'll zero that out. About Yea. We'll come off about 16 and a bit. Right, we'll see if that's going to chatter now that we're closer up to the chuck. We'll see how we go. Pretty bit quick too, but we'll pop our centre into it. Try that. Well done. Tell you what, these cheap tips, I mean, like, you buy these for a song, and I've had this in for a long time. This has done an awful lot of stainless, and you know, it's starting to get a little bit down now, but oh, geez, it just keeps going and going and going. Yeah, I can't get over just how good they are and how cheap they are. You know, for home workshops, you're crazy if you're not investing in this cheap tooling. And it is cheap. Alright, so they're done. We'll get set up to do the big ring on the outside, and that's why I've got the 200mm chuck in to do this bigger stuff. I usually have the 6-inch chuck in, but I've got this one. It's one of the joys of being able to make your own backing plates. I'll come back a little bit with my very amateurish camera setup. Yeah, it's one of the joys of being able to make up your own backing plates to fit stuff to your chucks. Doing that D14 taper. And, you would have seen me do that in one of the other videos for the ER32 D14 adapter. All right, we'll do the next job. As I said, we'll get up and we'll start machining those that big ring.